Okay. Good evening, everybody. HB is in the house right now. Hopefully, you guys can see me good. I'm actually standing in front of my whiteboard, and I don't even have a way for anybody to tell whether or not they can see me, but I believe that you can. I believe that you probably can see me. But anyway, I want to say welcome to everybody who's all around the entire world. I know we've got the entire world. I won't even start to name the countries that we have right now that's going on, but I can hear the beams coming through my phone. I've got my earpiece on, so that way I can talk to you directly through my earpiece and not have to yell into the camera, my camera phone that's over here. So, but anyway, happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Millionaire Mentorship Call. This is a success series that's taking place, part two, by the way, that we're actually going to get into today. So if you're just getting online right now, hopefully you listened to what I had to say last week and applying it this week already. And if you didn't have a chance to do that, you're going to have another chance to apply this week, what I'm going to teach you this week, so that next week can be a double up week for you. And I've got so many messages, text messages, all different type of messages that I got, videos. I've got photos of people who are doing the double up program and actually focusing their group on being able to double up. And that's what really this entire June series is all about. So if you haven't had a chance right now, get your favorite cup of beverage that you have. Mine is a latte, but right now for this call, I'm going to be having me some just nice old clear, good water that I'll have for this particular call. But go out there and send out some messages right now. If you got to send some Instagram messages, if you got to do a quick broadcast, if you've got to text message someone or WhatsApp some people, whatever you need to do to get people on this call, let them know right now live is part two of the June Success Series that's taking place. HB is in the house, and we're about to get the party started here in a few moments. And so hopefully all of you can actually see me really good. I know I've got it turned sideways. So right now, guys, I can't read any messages right now. Let me just tell you what, I'm just gonna make sure that you guys can see me correctly. So in the Diamond chat right now, if you guys can see me and hear me, properly, just give me a message in the Diamond chat. I'm just gonna go ahead and change this phone here real quick, check these messages before we get it started. And let's see here. I'm hearing the messages go off, so let's see, because I'd hate to do this entire call. Let's see here. Let's see. What do we got? It's perfect. Don't change it. That's what I'm talking about. All righty. So we're not going to change anything. All righty. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. So let me get back to where I was. Okay, no more messages. All right, I appreciate it. Everybody's sending me a whole bunch of messages there. But anyway, hopefully you guys are ready to rock and roll. June has already kicked off to be a good month. What we're going to do is we're going to make it a great month this month. And if you remember the call that we had last week, and we had really dove into how to double. But one of the first things that we talked about was being able to get rid of the clutter, get rid of all of the things that have caused you not to reach your goals up until this point. Because when you've got so many things in your mind, even when you've been involved in the business for so long, what I can tell you is that, we got a visitor here. Come on, Mr. Jet, get on in here. There he goes. What I can tell you is this, is that the people who accumulate the most clutter are the ones who've been in the business for the longest periods of time. You would be amazed at how many people who are even at high ranks. It can be an emerald, it can be a ruby, it can be a diamond, blue diamonds, all the way up the ladder, who come to me with just basic elements of how do I do this again? Because we've accumulated so much information and we have become so good at doing it a little bit this way and a little bit that way that we have forgotten the basics. And last week I talked about if you never get away from the basics, you don't have to get back to the basics. And so what we want to focus on these success calls that we're having, these success series, is the basic elements of what it is to build the business. And today I'm going to talk about being able to get a new distributor started the right way, getting them started the right way. And I'm going to talk to you about two elements of the business today that's going to be very, very, very important. I'm going to talk to you about something that's called the Income Security Index. Income Security Index. Why am I going to talk about that? Because what happens when people join the business, I'll bring my board knees up a little closer. I know I've got a little bit of glare now. But the Income Security Index is basically when people join the business, the majority of people who join network marketing, specifically Organo, they join not because they want to become multimillionaires. The majority of the people who join the business, they join because they want part-time discretionary income. So, but I want you to be able to properly manage expectations as you start working with brand new people, because remember, they join the business or they come out to an event. Maybe it's a CJM that they come to. Maybe it's a one-on-one that you're doing. Maybe it's a hotel meeting, or maybe it's one of the major events, or maybe it's just something that they've been sampled or whatever it may have been, conference calls. So what happens is a person actually has the intention to come to the meeting, and in the back of their minds, those people have a mindset saying, if I could just make this. Okay? So I want you to understand, when people come, they have what's called a minimum mentality. A minimums mentality. The minimum mentality means that they're looking at, if I can only make this, that is their ground floor. Now, so they're sitting in the meeting, or they're sitting or standing, listening to the conference call in the CJM at the one-on-one. They come with an objective of, if I could only make this. But once we start sharing the stories, then here's the thought process. It actually changes, and they say, well, if I could only make this, this would be nice. So now I come in and say, well, you know what? If I could just make $1,000 a month, that is my mentality. I sit there, I'm watching the presentation, and maybe it's a sapphire, maybe it's a ruby, maybe if I'm fortunate enough, I get to find an emerald or a diamond who's presenting the business. And when they present the business, you got to remember, these are what we call our dream makers. These are the dream makers. And the reason we call them dream makers is because they're able to get right into the mix of a person's life and show them the bigger picture. You have to remember, the majority of the people have actually heard of network marketing, but they have no idea what it's about. And the majority of the people who've heard of network marketing have heard of it from a perspective of part-time income. See, many of you on this call, you're spoiled, and that's a good way. What do I mean by you're spoiled? You've actually been able to see people get involved in Organo and earn millions and millions of dollars. You see the people who are in the magazine that you talk to. You see the people, the diamonds who sit up, in the roped off section, and you've watched them and all of their, glitter and all of their glamour. You're fortunate. You understand it. The majority of the people don't understand that. And so they say $1,000 a month, $500 a month. Why? Because a person normally comes to fill a hole that's in their boat. They come to actually replace the missing tool that they have in their household. And so some people, many of the people are struggling with trying to find a way to fix something. What do I mean? That, well, maybe they have a certain number of bills, but they have certain goals, and they're running $500 a month behind on their goals. And if they only had an extra $500 a month, then this would not have to take place. Or if I had $500 a month, then I would be able to do this. If I had an extra $1,000 a month, I could put my children or my child in maybe private school or maybe a better daycare. If I had $1,000 a month that I could add to what I'm paying in a mortgage, I can now move into this neighborhood. So I want you to always remember to manage the expectations. You meet people where they are, and then what your goal is when you meet them where they are and you understand here's where they are. Then if you make the proper connection with them, you can take them from where they are and bring them onto your side with vision or dream making. And that's what our emeralds and our diamonds and our blue diamonds and black diamonds are all about, is dream makers. They're able to create a dream. And so people sit there with a minimum mentality, but they leave there with a maximum possibility. Wow, I could actually retire. I could actually have this. I could actually do that. Those are the things that are going through a distributor's mind or a prospect's mind when they're sitting at the meeting. And if you do a great enough job getting those people to be able to meet them where they are and see the big picture, what you'll be able to do as well is, if you get them started right, then they will actually finish right. So you get them started right, and then they will be able to finish right. So I'm going to just recap real quick through the 4 steps. I'm not going to give you so much of the detail of the 4 steps, but I'm going to recap through the 4 steps real quick. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the income security index, why recruiting is necessary. And then I've got several elements of that I'm going to talk about on this call right here. So that way you'll be able to really start to understand how simple you keep the business and what are the simple things that provide for a large, true residual income in Organo. Now, so one of the first things is, once we've actually been able to establish the dream with these people, with our brand new partners, our brand new family members that we have that are actually have now joined Organo, one of the things that we want them to do is, I want you to understand that the 4 steps is not something that you should stand up and teach to a person. I think many people have it wrong, thinking that, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach them the 4 steps. You don't teach them the 4 steps. You model the 4 steps. You may give them an idea of the 4 things that you're going to accomplish over the next 72 hours with them, but you should be in the process of modeling the 4 steps with your brand new distributors. So step number 1, when the person gets started in the business, let me share with you why we made this step number 1. So step number 1 is becoming a product of the product. Okay? Product of the product. And we say, secure, develop your own testimonial story, and make sure within 24 to 48 hours that you share that story with your upline. This is the most important thing that any enrolling distributor will ever do. And I'll share with you why. You have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that in the industry of network marketing, over 70% of the people who enroll into Organo or enroll into network marketing, it is the last thing that they will ever do. The last thing that they'll ever do. So in the industry, we're only dealing with 30%. That means if you have 100 people to join your organization today, you only have 30 of those people that will ever repeat anything else that has to do with the business. This is on an average. Now, some of you have 100 people and you get maybe 60. But on the average throughout your organization, it's about 30% that will actually do something else besides click on the enrollment button or fill out an enrollment form, right? So even those of you who are looking at your income, and some of you are like, wow, I'm doing pretty well in Organo. I've made X number of dollars. You made it with only 30% participation month 1. Only 30%, or even week 2. So that means that I sign an application and 70% of the people say, bye-bye, you'll never see me again. I'll never order another product. I'll never come to another meeting. I'll never look at another Organo form. I'll never participate in a CJM. I'll never come to a convention. I'll never come to UTX, to Expo. I'll never do a 3-way call. They are done. And why is that number 70%? The reason that that number is 70% is because in network marketing, there is no qualification or requirement that you must go through prior to sponsoring a new person. What does that mean? That means that you can stay an amateur in network marketing as long as you choose to. It's up to you. You can remain an amateur. But it's not the amateurs who go on to make the money. The people who go on to make the money actually move from amateur, right, to professionals to artists. The artists, you know who they are. They're sitting behind the velvet ropes at our events. And so what we want you to do is learn how to move towards professional. Become a professional in this business. That means that you understand how to handle the people that join the business. Remember, network marketing, specifically organo, can and should move at a rapid pace, which means that the learning index, or the time for a person to learn how to properly get people started, that time is a very short span of time. This is why we have something called a system. A system. If there was no system, the business would never work, because with a system, you don't have to fully rely on the individual person getting them started. So the amateurs can use a professional system until they become a professional. So, but why is it this product of the product? Why is it the very first thing, sponsor 10 people or make a list? This is why. Because we understand the behavior, and what our goal is, ladies and gentlemen, is this. If you could actually go from 70% of the people never doing anything and increase that, decrease it to 60%, now you got 10% more people. I promise you, over a long period of time, you will see a dramatic difference in your income and in your results. So with the product of the product, when we're talking about getting them started right, what we want to do is we want to have that testimonial. Okay? That testimonial, hopefully I spelled it right. That testimonial. Why do we want that testimonial? Because if we know within the first 24, 48 hours, we can get them on our product, and they start consuming our product and they like the coffee. Here's the benefit that you have that most network marketing companies don't have and never can have, is that our product doesn't take 1 week to find out whether it works. There is no confirmation period that extends past 24 to 48 hours. And all the companies that I have been in before, when I sold the nutritional product, with my customer or me as a distributor, it took me at least 1 week to 15 days to find out, is this product really working? And the majority of the time, we have what I call entrepreneurial optimism. Entrepreneurial optimism simply means, because I am a part of this company, I have the belief that it works, and so it's almost a placebo effect, that we believe the product works, but we really haven't seen any results. And so we start looking, and maybe our shirt is stretched out a little bit. We say, wow, I lost weight. And no, you didn't lose any weight. It's your shirt was just stretched out a little bit. Okay? And so that's entrepreneurial optimism. Well, with Organo, we don't have to worry about that. See, we can get a confirmation on our product working in 5 seconds. What we do is we make a person a cup of coffee. We stir that coffee up. We let them sip the coffee, and as soon as they do this, that tastes good, that's confirmation that the product actually works. And so as soon as they have that confirmation, we no longer have a waiting period, which and that testimonial, there we go. And that testimonial that we have, ladies and gentlemen, is something that we can actually build upon, because if they no longer build the business or do anything else, we can at least have them as a wholesale customer, someone who's attached to the product but will never do anything else in the business. This is why we made this step number one. It's not so that you can just email your upline or whatever it is. We made this step number one for that specific purpose of this right here, people using the product. Remember, that's the 70%. So what if 70% of the people were still drinking Organo coffee, of the people who join your organization? Your residual income would be through the roof. But the majority of the people, just think about it. How many of you who have sponsored someone or who have had somebody to join your organization has focused and made sure that that the testimonial has been sent to the upline, that you've spoken with them and gotten the testimonial. See, I can show you photo after photo after photo after photo after photo after photo. Bond over in Thailand, just in the diamond check, sent out some testimonials. Cosmos Magimbe sends out testimonials. Dr. Bob in his organization has this photo book. They've got a Facebook page for customers, and there's thousands of people who shared their testimonials. And I'm going to share with you the results of having that particular practice, because what happens is the residual income, it stays around. The residual income stays around. So number one, become a product of the product. Get a testimonial. It is so important for you to learn how to share your testimonial. Number two, we talk about what? Build a list of names. Build a list of names. Real simple, guys. This is back to what we do. In your distributor orientations, this is what you should be talking about with your brand new distributors. Maybe you've got 3, 4, 5 of them. But building a list of names. Now, here's what we want. We want 50 opportunity seekers, and we want 50 coffee drinkers or potential customers. All right? Some of you who joined the business, you say, well, I don't want to put a person as a customer. I want all of them as opportunity seekers. And those who don't choose the opportunity, I'll make them a customer. That's fine as well. But 100 names is our system has been designed around 100 names. I'll share with you later on, or maybe even at Expo, how I break everything down and show you that what we put together here, not only with this, we've made it look simple. And that's the part of genius. Genius is not making something look complicated or difficult. The art of genius is being able to take something that has so many different elements and make it look so simple that everybody looks and says, wow, I can do that. Okay? See, before, when I was in network marketing, I thought that I would make more money when I come with all of these things that nobody understood, and it made me look smart. No, that's not the way you want to do it. You want to make sure that whatever you do is very simple. So number one, product of the product. Number two is going to be a list of names. Your lists are your resources. The list is your resources, specifically if you are going to build an organization. If you're looking to build an organization. Now, why is it, when we say 50, I share with you within the calendar that I'm not going to talk about right now. I can't use the calendar now, but I can tell you right now is that's another tool that I want you to start using. Your monthly calendar. When I first got started, we didn't have the monthly calendar the way that we sell them now or have them through Organo as a resource. What I did is I had a month at a glance calendar that I would go to Office Depot and I would get, and I would line up my entire month based off of the squares in that month at a glance. Why? I want to look at the calendar and I want to see all 30 days at one time so that I could see exactly how I'm going to apply the resources of this list and my activity and apply it to this particular calendar, because that calendar really becomes a calculator, and I was always able to predict my results and predict my income based on the calendar. It was not a date book for me. It was not an appointment book. It was a calculator. I can look at a person's calendar and I can tell them how much money they're going to earn or how much volume they're going to generate if they give me a collection of the runners in their organization and a snapshot of their calendar. Guys, I want you to get back to those basics. Right now, I'm giving you what I call the high level on that, and subsequent calls and even at Expo, I'm going to get into the details of how that works, because the calendar training can actually be a 3-4 hour training. Those of you who are over there in Minneapolis, Minnesota, you're fortunate. This coming Saturday, I'm going to be there and I'm going to break it all down for you. Okay. So we talk about a list, 50-50 on the list. Okay. 50-50 on the list. The third part, the third step, and get in the 4 steps that we talk about, is setting up 4 coffee and jazz mixers. You can call them coffee parties. You can call them mixers, but 4 meetings is what we want you to set up. Well, why is this so important? Because the reason that the 70% exists is because they never had anything else to do. You never had an assignment for them, and nobody walked them through what they needed to do. But this is going to be the element of expanding the business. You get 4 CJMs when a person books that. Typically, the people that I set up 4 CJMs with, those people stay in the business. I have them for 30 days minimum in the business if they book their calendar and set up 4 CJMs. So everything that we're doing, I can't explain to you why right now. What I want you to know is that this is 28 years of experience. You got Shane with over 20 plus years of experience. You got these diamonds over here. We've got hundreds of years of experience that we put all together with this system. And there's a lot of thought process that has gone into why we do what we do. So remember, one of the things that I want to share with you is this: don't tear down the fences until you know why we put them up. Because some of the things that you see, you'll look at it and you'll scratch your head and you'll be puzzled as to why did they do that? Well, we know why we've done it. Why? Because we've done it wrong enough, long enough, until we got it right. And so our system is so incredible. And then the 4th step will be plug into a system. Plug into a system. Those are the 4 steps. All right. Now, I've done trainings on the 4 steps. I've taken 6 hours to cover all of the details. I can take this list part number 2, and I can share with you 2 hours of what this list, how this list right here translate into income. I can show you how I get people started in the business and how it translates into those people being able to put $800 in their pocket right away by making sure we sell those brand new distributors their first 2 boxes of coffee. What does that translate to? See, all of these are things that we never really, that I don't hear a whole lot of right now. Last week I spoke about the cash cow, and I had some people text me up and say, well, you know what? You can find it on SoundCloud. Listen, I don't care if they buy it through Organo right now. If you can get it on SoundCloud for free, or if you can get it on Apple, wherever it is that people are getting it, what's most important is they get the information. What's most important is they get the information. I think Dr. Bob sent me a text message letting me know he went back over the cash cow over and over and over and over again since last call. And he's like, wow. Why? Because what happens is we break away from what got us to where we are. That information is great information, okay? So now let me move on, because I want to really get into step number 2. Component number 2 here, as I told you, is the income security index. Network marketing is really about a conglomerate of people performing in a system to get a result in a shorter period of time than you would if you did that by yourself. So here's what I want you to understand what is going to take place, okay? I'm going to share with you what you're really looking to accomplish when you have income, a residual income goal, okay? So let's just say that over here is volume and over here is time. This is time, and this right here is volume. All right. Now, here's what I want you to, what the goal is to achieve. And I'm going to give you person after person that you can point, that I can point to, and I can share with you with absolute certainty, this is their situation. This is why their income is so stable. Remember, the majority of people who join Organo or network marketing, they see short period of time. Somebody made $1 million in their first 3 years, and they say, wow, I've been on my job 30 years. I haven't made $1 million. And so they look at it as overnight success. And so they typically want to shortcut the process. Now, here's what happens in network marketing. Here's what I call the income security index. There's two types of revenue or volume that you're going to have in your business. You're going to have what's called recruitment volume. Recruitment volume. Recruitment volume, whatever that number is, it doesn't matter what that number is. But there's volume that comes from recruitment. In the very beginning, it's going to be the largest segment of volume that you're going to have. And I'm speaking right now to many of you who are brand new. Remember, why is that? Because when you sell a gold pack, you're going to receive 600, I think, either 600 or 650 CV within your organization for that gold pack. Well, that same person the following month places an order of maybe $100. Well, they're going to have to do 6 months worth of activities to equal what they generated when they first came into the business. So I want you to understand that in the very beginning, your recruitment volume will drive the highest volume. So some people who get involved in our business and they go sapphire in their first 30 days, it's because the recruitment volume is so high. It takes what? 13 people who 12 or 13 gold packs, you're a sapphire. But what happens is they think, well, I went sapphire, I generated 14,000 in volume. The next month it's going to happen again. No, you really, the next month, you only have $1,300 in volume from the next volume, and that is called product consumption volume. So this right here is your recruitment volume. And then your product consumption volume. Here's the thing, here's your goal. Your goal is to keep your product consumption volume very close and not too far away from your recruitment volume. In the very beginning, it's going to be far away. But your goal is to make sure that it gets close. Here is why. Here's why. Because in any business, no matter what the company, no matter what type of business it is, I tell people, trees never grow into the sky. At some point, you can't see the tree grow higher. Does it grow? Yes, but it doesn't grow into the sky. You've never been somewhere and looked up and couldn't see the moon because it's just full of trees. And there's trees that have been around for thousands of years, but they never grow completely into the sky. That means your recruitment will never just continue to go up and up and up and up and up, and it just doesn't happen that way. Don't think that that is bad. That is normal. So that means that if something ever happens and your recruitment starts to decrease and decline, if your product volume is here after 18 months, remember, ladies and gentlemen, one of the third reasons that I chose Organo, if you remember when I talk about it, is because I said, with this product, the simplicity of what we've got, the acceptability of our product, the instant 5-second confirmation that a person likes our product, I know that I could build and teach people that in 18 months, that the income that they will actually have as a result of people who are attached to the product, this income here, this income could actually be larger than the income that they would earn from people who are focused simply on the compensation plan or the recruitment efforts, meaning that the residual income from non-participants, people who are not building the business, that is the largest part of your income, and that's what you want. So if recruitment goes down, something happens. Guess what happens? Here, you've only got this much of a fall to take place. But if you don't focus on those elements that I just told you about, product of the product, understanding how to build a list of potential customers, and if you're not building a list of customers and you're building all prospects, turning prospects into customers, and if you don't do that, and if your customer volume or your consumption volume is here, you got a large fall to make down here. And here's what happens. The majority of people build their lifestyle based on their recruitment volume. Wrong thing to do. Your lifestyle should be based on your residual or your consumer volume. Lifestyle, you don't buy a house because of what your dual team check is. You buy a house based off of what your residual is, because if something ever happens, you don't want to have to fall way down here because I don't have any more growth. You want to say, well, you know what? Maybe I'm not making that extra, $5,000 a month, but you know what? The $20,000 a month that I'm making is because I built it the right way. See, when I look at people like Rod Smith, and I look at the Nielsen's, and I look at Edwin Haynes and Sam Bean, and I'm just giving some names here. When I look at Dr. Bob and Kelly Rakowski, and many of our leaders, their lifestyle is so stable because they built their business on this particular index here, not residual here, recruitment here. Doesn't mean they're not good recruiters. They're excellent recruiters. It just means that they built the business properly and had a balance, and they understood the future of what they were trying to accomplish. They understood the future of what they were looking to accomplish, and that is long-term residual results. So here's what you want here. You want after 18 months, if you're building, you want your residual income very close to your residual volume, very close to your recruitment volume overall. And that's going to give you a very stable, very stable income security index. Remember, income security index. Now, what is the goal? Here's what normally takes place in the very beginning. And I'm talking to those of you who are brand new people here. Here's what normally takes place. I'm going to show you what happens. It's called the law of decreasing responsibility. The law of decreasing responsibility. Why is it that we choose network marketing? Why did I choose network marketing? Because the law of decreasing responsibility is something that I only saw in network marketing. I also saw it in maybe in the stock market, but I didn't have enough education, or I wasn't wise enough, and I didn't have enough money to study that. And there were certifications that I would need so that I could perfect it. Network marketing says, I'll take you just as you are. And so what do I mean by the law of decreasing responsibility? In the very beginning, your business will always look like an upside down pyramid or triangle. Don't be concerned about that word pyramid. People don't understand it. Pyramid is not a bad name. A pyramid business is a bad business, and our business is not that. What do I mean by this right here? The law of decreasing responsibility. In the very beginning, your efforts, as you start to build your network, your efforts, the majority of the revenue and volume is going to come from your efforts. So from here to here represents your efforts. So that means your first 30 days, pretty much 100% of your income is going to come from the things that you are actually doing. It comes from your own efforts. Y-O-E, your own efforts. Now, when I worked a job, 100% of my income came from my own efforts. But guess what happened 5 years later? It was the exact same thing. Even though I got more educated, even though I got better, even though I increased my skill set, my income came from trading time for money. The goal is here. This right here is effort that you expend, and this right here is time. Going down over here, this is time. So what the goal is, over a period of time, and 18 months is what we use. This is why we use an 18-month calendar. This is why everything that we focus on is based off of 18-month intervals. We give 3 6-month periods so that we can evaluate our success and our progress. So what should happen is your efforts should start to diminish. that means that the responsibility of what you're doing diminishes. Why? Because when you build a network, the network now has more effort in than you're putting in, and so you have a bigger result. And even though you're putting in the same effort, your percentage of the results from your effort becomes smaller and smaller, and the goal is to get it to be an inverted pyramid. Whereas now, here is your effort, but here is your results. In the beginning, here is your effort, but here's your result. Now, after 18 months, if you're doing it the way that I'm talking about, based off of what I taught you on the income security index, now here's what your effort is. That means that when you've got a network of 1,000 active distributors and you go out and you do a mixer, but you've got 100 mixers that took place today somewhere around your state, somewhere around the United States, or somewhere in your country, here's your effort. But because you had 100 meetings take place, if you didn't do a meeting that day, your income is not affected. In the very beginning, if you didn't have that first CJM, you have no income coming in. And so that's the goal. The goal is to get to the law of decreasing responsibility. It's better known as residual income, income that comes in month after month after month, but you only get this when you have a system. You only get this when you have a system. Now, I want to share with you right now the 4 elements. There's 4 elements that actually affect this law, that law of decreasing responsibility. There's 4 elements, and hopefully, guys, you're really understanding this. Remember, my goal tonight is not to get into all of the details with regard to this. My goal tonight is to kind of give you what I call concept, to give you concept. What are the 4 elements that affect this law of decreasing responsibility? Number 1, and this is in no order of importance, it's the sale of a gold pack. The sale of a gold pack. Most people believe that the gold pack, the reason that you sell the gold pack is for a higher fast track bonus. That's not the purpose of a gold pack. It's for a fast track bonus. The purpose of a gold pack, here are some of the things that take place. Number 1, psychologically, a person who makes a start with the gold pack, they're actually putting out a little bit more than if a person started with just a kit. That means that they're a little bit more serious. They have a little bit more skin in the game. Number 2, they have more products that they actually have that they can sample and get customers and potential distributors with. And so the more product you have, in every business that I've been involved with, I realize the more that I have, the more that I sell. I can't sell the products that I don't have. The more that I have, the more I will sell. I owned a furniture company, and guess what? I never forget. The more inventory I had, the higher my sales were. When my inventory ran low because I did crazy stuff like take the money and pay bills instead of buy more furniture, I noticed the next month I didn't sell as much furniture. Why? Because I tried to satisfy bills instead of paying or feeding the thing that was actually providing for me to pay my bills. So here, when you got a gold pack, you've got about $1,300 worth of product. And if you've got a great sponsor, or if you are a great sponsor, you're going to show that brand new person who just purchased their gold pack that you sold a gold pack to, you're going to show them how to get their money back. The biggest challenge that we have, remember, the first thing I said is getting them started right. The biggest challenge that we have is, remember, the rookie syndrome. What is the rookie syndrome? Oh, I sponsored one. Yeah, I sponsored one. And we jump around as if we finished the race because we sponsored someone. We're so happy. And guess what? I applaud you, and we should applaud that. But that's where the work starts. Not where the work finishes. That's where the work actually starts. So make sure that you start promoting the gold pack and showing people how to earn their money back. You show them if they sell the gold pack at retail, they're going to receive over $1,800 back. They started with $1,300. They get $1,800 back. That means they get all of their money back, plus they've made over $600 profit. And there's ways that I can show you to start with a gold pack and get over 3 times the money back. Over 3 times the money back. Won't go over that now, but basically it's this. Now, what is the second element? The second element that affects this law? Testimonials. Testimonials. Why? The more testimonials you have going through your organization, the more you can use those with customers. See, what you've got to do is you've got to continue to service your customers. If you've got 10 customers, here's a good thing to do. What if you just set up a little group that it was undisclosed and they didn't know who was part of the group, that you had maybe a little distribution list. And every time you found a great testimonial, you sent it out to those particular customers. What it does, it confirms that the product that you are providing to them, that it works, and that there's a concept called social proof. Social proof simply means that your customers or potential distributors, they see that somebody else is getting a result, and when they see that somebody else is getting a result, guess what? They continue to reorder. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the solutions customer service business. We're not in the recruitment business. Why? Recruitment never grows into the trees. But consumption can continue to rise over and 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 over again. I want you to understand that. Many of you heard my story. I tell it all the time. I didn't join Organo because Marianne Node told me how much her dual team check was. I never asked how much her fast track or dual team. Marianne Node, after 6 months in the business, was letting me know her residual income was about $800 per month. Residual. That was from consumption, people consuming the product. 6 months. For me, unheard of. It was unheard of. And I knew we can put a system in place, and after 18 months, we can show people how to have an income larger from consumption than from just the recruiting. Now, let me get close up into this camera. Don't get this twisted. This is not HB saying we need to slow down recruiting. No, you need to speed up recruiting. If you speed up the recruiting process, you speed up the residual income process. You speed up the recruiting and double up on your recruiting, half the time it's going to take you to now retire. So don't slow down and think, well, I'm just going to focus on customers. That's not multiplication. That's addition. That is addition. So gold pack purchase, testimonials. Okay. Testimonials is one of the elements that affect it. Number 3, Star Achiever. What is Star Achiever? Why did we put Star Achiever in place? We put Star Achiever in place so that we can have people get to $2,000 a month residual income faster than they could in any other company out there in network marketing. See, it's real easy to have a lot of people who are distributors just paying, a reoccurring fee or paying money for the product themselves. That's not real residual income. Real residual income is when you have non-participants, people who don't have anything to do with making money in the company who are using your product. That's where real residual income comes from. I had a chance over the last few years to be meeting and talking to some of the people who are legends in this industry. Some of them you don't know their name, but some of these people have earned in excess of 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 million dollars, and you don't know their names. Why? Because their money didn't come because they're still out there and their recruits are going through the roof. They took care of their business in the early stages, and the consumers fell in love with the product and don't walk away from the product. Just think about it. How many of your family members right now, I know my mom, we grew up and we would use Tide laundry detergent. Guess what I use to this day? Tide laundry detergent. So my question is, did Ty do a very good job at making sure that my mother and my grandmother was tied into that particular product? So they have now got three generations of consumption because they did a good job making sure that my grandmother was happy with the product. My mother became happy with the product. I became happy with the product. And guess what? My son doesn't even know how to wash, so I have no idea what he's going to be using. I don't even know if he washes his clothes. But anyway, that's another story, you millennials. So, but Star Achiever is the same thing. It's when you generate 400 points in your personal circle, and it's not because you've got this credit card that has a limit of $500 on it. It's because you have serviced 10 customers. You got 10 serviceable customers that you're servicing every single month. It's no different. I use Tide as an example. Some of you are using products that your grandmother started using, and your grandmother passed it on to your mom or your dad, and they passed it on to you. That's in a traditional business. Why couldn't it happen for you? Why don't you think your product is good enough to go generations after generations after generations? This is what I love, that I can get a customer one time, and I do the work to get them one time, and I do follow-up to make sure that they stay my customer, but I get paid for the next 60 years. 60 years of consumption, that consumption comes back into my family. Multiply that times so many different customers in my network. This is how you start to build generational wealth. This is how you have a strong income security index. So Star Achiever, very important. If you're not on Star Achiever, you should. I see some people, oh, you know what, it's not important. Well, what are you building? We designed it to give you, to reward you, to give you recognition. We know that people want the recognition, but go out there and get real customers to make that happen. Guys, I think it's 400 points. 450 points per month. I'm sorry, 450 points of business that you're doing per month. We're not saying 4,500. I can share with you companies, just to qualify to get your bonuses, you've got to do personal volume of 3,000, some companies $5,000 in personal volume to qualify for your bonus check. Here, the issue is sometimes it's too easy because it doesn't seem like running a business when all I've got to do is $100 a month. $100 a month? Okay. $100 a month? So you want to build a team of subscribers. Now, obviously, superstar achiever as well. When you're a superstar achiever, that just means that you're helping other people to become star achiever. But the fourth element is CJMs. CJMs allow me to generate revenue and volume. Okay? Let me see what time it is here. I can't really see. All right, I can't tell right now anyway. But your CJMs is one of the other elements. See, one of the reasons if your volume is going backwards or not increasing, check your CJM levels. Why? Because CJM, that's what I call the marketplace. That's where all of the exchange actually takes place. That's what I call it's the coffee farmer's market. Because let's just say I've got 5 or 6 people here at my house, and I'm doing a mixer. It's a mixer. This is a marketplace mixer. It's not for me to give a great presentation or a great speech. It's for me to bring people. I'm going to share the opportunity. I'm going to make sure that I serve them hot water, coffee, tea, whatever it is, shakes, whatever it is. They will be able to use that. And then from there, I start the process of presenting the business. And at the end, I give them an opportunity to join the business. Those people who join the business, on the spot, I ask them a question. Do you want to build the business slow or do you want to build it fast? And everybody always says fast. And then I asked them, I said, well, let me ask you a question. If I could show you, you want to build it fast? If I could show you how to make some money tomorrow, would that be okay with you? Oh, of course. And I give them 2 boxes of coffee, one black, one latte, and I say, hey, here, this was a black and a latte. It's $36. You can write me a check or give me cash. Actually, I used to say check. I don't say checks. I don't take anybody's check. Give me cash. Or right now, we can do the Cash App, and you can swipe it. There's so many different ways to receive money from people today. You don't have to worry about that. Here, $36. And I give them the 2 boxes of coffee. They give me the money. Now, here's what happens. Some people, this is what they do. They shortcut the process. And they shortcut the process by offering the people the product and say, well, when your coffee comes in, you give it back to me. You don't want to do that, okay? You don't want to do that. You want to make sure you sell it to them. Why? Because it's ownership. I want them to be an owner. Well, HB, they just bought a $1,300 gold pack. So what? What's another $36? They want to make money right away. So I send them home with 2 boxes of coffee. Let me share with you what happens. See, I wish I could really get into all of this, but I can't. Here's what happens. Number one of the reasons that people never do anything else is because Tarzan, who was at the meeting beating on his chest, oh, I'm going diamond. When he gets home, his wife says, you spent $1,300 on what? And who did the presentation? Well, that loudmouth guy named Holton. And where's he? Oh, he's from Houston. And maybe you're in California. And then she tells you, see, you spent $1,300 on somebody. You don't even know who he was. He's from another state. He took your money and he's gone. And Tarzan's deflated because why? He has nothing to show his wife. He has nothing to go home and say, well, here's what I bought. So I make sure that I equip him. So if there's some resistance, here, honey, I want you to try this. Here's a part of the product from the new business. The rest of it's coming. And because I know our coffee is incredible, she tastes the coffee, she likes it, a whole different conversation. So we're solving all of these issues here. We also talk about the sampling. We teach them the 4 questions, right? So now I send them the work tomorrow. Here's what I know I did as a mistake in network marketing. In the very beginning, I went to my meeting. The very next day, I went back to class, and I tried to present the business to everybody. And guess what? I did a horrible presentation. Excited, didn't know what I was talking about, and nobody got in. I had very good quality people, and I spoiled it because I had a bad presentation. Here, I've equipped my new person with a box of black and a box of latte. And I teach them, don't go and try to present this business. Here, make a list of some of the people at work and ask them these questions. Hey, Joe, do you or anybody you know drink coffee or tea at least occasionally? How do you drink your coffee, black or cream and sugar? Well, who's your favorite brand? Let me ask you, have you ever been paid for drinking their coffee? Hey, check this out. Listen, I want to give you a free sample of the coffee that pays. A friend of mine actually gets paid every time somebody takes a sip of this coffee, and every time he takes a sip of it. And actually, he gave me some to share with some people to see if they want to get paid or continue drinking the coffee. Boom. Simple stuff like that. Now, my new distributor is not being beat up about how does it work and all of this stuff. I'm protecting. You have to provide and you have to protect. And so this is one of the reasons CJMs is one of the elements to provide for the income security index, because it's a medium of exchange. It's several things that's going to be exchanged at my mixers, okay? It's going to be credit card information and an application for gold packs or for packs. It's going to be money that's going to be exchanged for those who don't want to get involved for coffee. It's going to be a list of names that's going to be exchanged for what? My time. If you want my time, I need your list of names. If a person decides not to get in, and I'll ask them for referrals, I'll give them a couple of samples if they promise to give me at least 5 referrals that I can use their name to contact these particular people. Retail product, you don't want to get in the business? No problem. Here, I'm going to sell you some coffee. Brand new distributors who join the business, here, a box of black, a box of latte. So if you don't have the marketplace effect going on at your mixers, you are messing with your income security index. You're messing with your income security index. The mixers is a marketplace. It's not a place to show off your house. Not a place to show off whatever it is. It's a place to conduct business. Let me check my timing here real quick, guys. Uh-oh, right at 9 o'clock here. Okay. So I've got a couple minutes for me to wrap up. So it is a place for you to be able to conduct business, especially if you've got other distributors that are there. You should look at a mixer and going on, you should see conversations and transactions that are actually taking place. If you can remember how Wall Street would normally look, before the digital age, it was people exchanging different pieces of, that's why they call it an exchange. The New York Stock, what? Exchange. The CJM is a exchange place. The mixers is a exchange place. I'm exchanging information for my time. I'm exchanging money for product, more money for product at retail over here, wholesale, and I've got my leaders over here and different people. They're exchanging. It's a medium of exchange. It's not a party. It's not a celebration camp. It's not a conference where you get together just to come see who's there at the meeting. I'm coming there and I want business being conducted. Calendars are coming out. I'm giving you my time if you give me your commitment for 4 meetings. It's a medium of exchange. All of these things, ladies and gentlemen, is what creates volume. But somewhere along the line, we do it so often and we forget it. And then what happens is we give eloquent speeches. And we do it so well that we forget the rawness of what the purpose is for these meetings that we're having. And what happens is our income security index starts to taper off. It starts to taper off. And when your income security index starts to taper off, your level of excitement is no longer there. Your enthusiasm is no longer there. And we start looking for other things to fill that void of that we used to have, that marketplace that used to be that way. You say, well, maybe it's because everybody knows about Organo. No, the people who were at your mixer, that was their first time hearing about Organo. They have no more experience than the people who were at my first mixer 10 years ago when I did my first mixer. They have no more exposure. What is the difference? Me. The difference is me. The difference is the guy who walks into that room. Am I walking into that room knowing I've come here and in about an hour and a half, there's going to be a medium of exchange that's taking place? Or if I walk into the room, am I walking into the room because I'm the big shot? And all I want is edification. I want them to make sure that the host, you got to make sure you say this about me. That's what it becomes. It's not what it's about. It's about being able to understand you're still in the trenches. And that's where the money comes from. The money comes from the exchange, the medium of exchange that takes place. Last thing I want to cover real quick, I'll run through it, is why recruiting is necessary. If you understand, we talked about so much of the product here, but I want to make sure that I don't de-emphasize recruiting. Okay? Enrollments, building an organization. Number one, it lessens the workload for you. It lessens the workload. If you're going to have a residual income at the Sapphire level, $14,000, and if your average person is doing $100 per month, you're going to need quite a few of those people. You're going to need 100 people in the 140 people in the business doing $100 a month. Do you want to go get all 100? No, I don't want to go get all 100. I don't mind going out there and getting maybe, 12, maybe somewhere between 12 and 14 of those people, 12 to 16 people. And then let it develop into a 100 and let me have a $14,000 volume, residual volume, whereas I'm a Sapphire and I'm bringing home about $2,000 a month. So it lessens the requirement when you enroll. Guys, here's the thing. You should be enrolling 2 people a month in your business. If you're real serious about your future and you're saying, here is something I know for a fact that I can control my own future retirement, 2 people a month is nothing. Being VP of sales, a distributor, running a large organization, my first 7 years in organo, ladies and gentlemen, I never missed a month of recruiting at least 2 people in my business. Why? Focus. I have to. I don't feel good about what I'm doing if I don't. 2 people a month. Just 2. I mean, for 30 days, you mean to tell me you can't get yourself in an environment where you find 2 people who say they want to improve the quality of their health and they want to improve the quality of their wealth? No, you can't. So recruiting is important because it lessens the workload. Number 2, it multiplies the results. I showed you the law of decreasing responsibility. In the very beginning, you do all the work, you make very little money. After 18 months, it starts to cross paths. You do a little bit of work, you make a lot of money. The people I'm telling you about now, some of these people that I've met, that I know of, who are in the industry of network marketing, they do no work. They show up once a year at the convention because they're now retired. They're truly retired. We're not talking about, you hit a pen and you retire. They're truly retired. They did exactly what they said that they were going to do. In a traditional world, you retire on 40%, if that, of what you're already making that was almost impossible to live on. That means if you make $100,000 a year for 40 years, if you average that, that means your lifestyle is typically based off of 100,000. If you're the average American, it's based off of 113,000, but your income is 100. And then when you retire, it drops down to 40 or maybe even less. But your lifestyle is based off of 100. This is why you see people who retire have to go back to work or have to get a second job, or they get in their 40s and 50s and realize I've got to do something different because at this rate, I will not have enough money to live the rest of my years. When you have a residual income and you use the income security index and your consumer volume is not too far off from your recruitment volume, at whatever time period that you choose, you can retire. Why? All customers don't quit at the same time. They don't. They pass this product on, and their kids see them using the product. And when their kids leave the house, guess what coffee they want to drink? They don't drink they drink organo. And so your income has the ability to live on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So number 2, it multiplies the results. It obviously provides an exponential residual result. An exponential residual result. Remember, there is a lateral result, whereas you put in an hour, you get paid for an hour. And then there's an exponential result, where you put in an hour and you may only get paid for 10 minutes based off a result. But you put in another hour, you get paid for 10 minutes. You put in another hour, but now you've got 3 people, and now you're getting paid for 30 minutes. You put in an hour, now you're getting paid for 40 minutes. You put in an hour, now you're getting paid for an hour. It took you maybe 6 weeks to put in an hour and get paid for an hour. Week 7, you put in an hour, you get paid for 80 minutes. Week 8, you put in an hour, and now you get paid for 90 minutes. And then you keep putting in that same hour, and at some point in time, you get paid for 10 hours of production, 100 hours of production, 1,000 hours of production for the same hour. That's network marketing. And ladies and gentlemen, from a residual standpoint, there's no better product to do it with than the organo product. We have got the most simple products ever designed for distribution through a network channel. You don't have to look to your left. You don't have to look to your right. If you want an income security index that is strong, you can't do it with anything better than what we already have with coffee. I'm telling you guys, look at it. When I look at how Marianne Note was building the business, customer volume, recruitment volume wasn't so crazy high. Consumer volume was right there. Stable income stability. That's what I wanted. That's what I was attracted to. That's how you build the business. I looked at Jose Luis and how he was building his organization. Stable volume because the consumer volume was there. Recruitment volume was there. Recruitment volume stops or slows down, doesn't fall too far. That's what you've got to build. And ladies and gentlemen, one of the last elements that I'll tell you is events. Events are the lifeblood of the organization. I got so thrilled about seeing the photos of Cesar Munoz who was down over in Atlanta, Georgia with Daniel and Talita. I was just very, and Carla as well was there, very excited about what's going on. Find an event and make sure that you attend. This coming Saturday, I will be in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Super Saturday, the first one that I've ever done in that part of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm bringing the heat. I can't wait to get there and share this information with each and every one of you who are going to be there. I know we've got people coming from all over the world. But the other thing is get yourself registered for Expo. Get registered for Expo and double up. Remember, this is the season of doubling up on your volume, doubling up on your recruiting, doubling up on your events, doubling up on your reading, doubling up on your personal growth, doubling up on your promotion. Every element in the business right now, I want you focused on doubling. And if you focus on doubling, you will watch your income security index continue to increase. And you'll look back to your left one day, you'll look back to your right one day, and here's what you're going to say. I'm so glad I did it. I am so glad I did it. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I see too many people around the world who have this statement to make. I wish I would have listened. I wish I would have built it the right way. You can make a bunch of money and lose it and get it back. But if you put in time doing it the wrong way, you can't get that time back. And I never want to see you getting so close to the finish line only for them to move the tape another 10 years down the line and say, well, I know you were supposed to retire this time, but sorry, you got 10 more years of work to do. Your family deserves for them to take the finish line and push it closer to you. And that way, when you hit that finish line, I promise you, you're going to say, I'm so glad I did it the right way. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next Sunday. Millionaire Mentorship Call, Part 3. Remember, it's easy. It's simple. It's organic. Love each and every one of you. See you at the top. Bye-bye, everybody.